I want to introduce you to one specific mushroom genus today, and we have it right here. This is Russula, but you know, I am not really sure of the exact species. I can look it up. I do have a few guesses because of this pale color, pale reddish rose color, and a bit of yellow inside. I can maybe have few guesses about what it is. But we are going to talk more about these, and for this purpose, I will take this one with me. Beautiful mushroom. We will find a place to sit down and get to know it a bit better. Russulas have a very rich folklore. In a lot of cultures, in more than one, they were considered as something as a food for wood creatures. Creatures of the woods. Oh, what do we have here? Another one. I find them a lot in the forests. They are maybe one of the most common mushrooms. They appear very early, late summer, early autumn. You can find them all over the place. A lot of them are actually edible, but they are not really prized for their quality or taste. So most of the people actually leave them alone. Maybe they are more popular in Eastern Europe and in Europe in general. I think in the US, most of the time they just avoid it. They know what it is, they know it might be edible, but it's just not, they're not used to considering picking them for eating that much. This specific one has a reddish color. Could be edible, could be not. It really depends. Oh, look at these beauties. These are some sort of the milk caps. So a ringed cap, funneled cap, just like this. See, it's kind of in the shape of the funnel. This one is even more like that. We have more of them here. A bit gone off. A lot gone off. I was hoping actually to find one to take, because I wanted to talk about those two. Lactarius genus and Russula genus are quite related, we can say it like that, and they have one very interesting common characteristic that I want to share with you. Here it is. Funneled shaped cap. And so in, let's say, in people's language, Russulas are called brittle gills, and we will come back to the reason why. And these are called milk caps. Now, why? See, when you do this to them, when you bruise them, there is milk that starts to come out. These particular ones are, they're not deadly, but they are toxic milk caps. But we are going to talk a bit more about both of these. Russula and Lactarius have one very interesting common characteristic that you do not really see every day in the mushroom world, and as a matter of fact, you don't see it every day in the whole planet Earth. Here they are, one next to another. I will get them home just to make a really close-up video, because I want to capture the sound as well. And right now there are a lot of birds around. I don't have special equipment, just to focus on this part here, and I want to show you something. But until then, let's talk about folklore of this one. So people would leave them for the creatures of the woods. They may be ghosts in some cultures, ghosts that protect the homes, ghosts that protect the woods, or kind of fairies. Most of the time it is kind of fairy, and people believed that fairies eat these. In some cultures they believed they use this as bread. That is the reason why in those same cultures it was said that you should not pick these, but you should leave them behind for the forest, for nature, and for the creatures that eat it. Genus Russula is famous to have some very colorful specimens. So if you just started foraging and you notice these interestingly colored mushrooms. More often than not, it will be russulas that will catch your eye first. They are yellowish, greenish, reddish, even bluish ones. And here is one of those here. Kinda almost like leaf colored. It is a bit gone off, maybe even infected with something, but you can see the color. These ones are pale specimens. Sometimes, even also depending on the background and contrast, they can strike you much harder. But yeah, blue and red are not that common in nature, and when you see them like that, you usually raise few eyebrows. This one has been partying hard all night and is quite wasted. Does not smell too nice, must tell you that. I don't think people smell nice after partying either. So yeah, the lore of many people said leave these mushrooms alone, do not eat them. But, I am sure, knowing the human nature, if those same mushrooms were tastier and more cherished as a food, I am sure that the lore would be different or non-existent. It would just say, pick it and eat it pretty much. I don't remember much lore about porcini, for example, but I believe chanterelles do have some, even though they are edible. Not sure it includes leave it behind in the forest for other critters, though. Genus Russula and genus Lactarius are the species who have something called spherocytes. Spherocytes being a fancy scientific term for spherical cells. It is also found in plants, but they sort of have a different role there. What do these round cells actually do, when you look superficially at one of their members that have them, is they make them quite brittle. This is the reason why russulas are called brittle gills. Now, let me take this piece of chalk and break it. Why? We will come back to it quite soon. This is quite evenly broken, as you can see. No uneven edges, fibrous parts. Quite, clean cut, you would say. It looks almost as if you would take a knife and cut it out. Let's take this one. Prepare yourself for some fun and possibly some critters inside, which I cannot, unfortunately, affect. Let's try it. Do you see the resemblance? There is this part here that is a bit maybe out of its role, but I'll come back to that. But see, most of the time when you break up mushroom stems or any other parts of them, you won't hear this and it won't look like this. It's quite similar to what we had a moment earlier with the chalk. The reason is chalk is on microscopic level very similar to this. So Russula genus is not maybe entirely made of spherocytes or spherical cells, but for the most part it is. And that is why we have almost perfect clean cuts like we have with the chalk here. This stem is empty inside. Let me take a look. Oh, actually it does not yet have maggots, interestingly. Most of the time they do have them. See how it breaks off? And it will be the same with the cap. I think if you ever wondered where does name brittle gills come from, you have your answer now. With russulas, if you are forager and you wonder, especially if you are beginner forager, and you wonder how to be sure they are edible, let's go to first things first. The first step is to be entirely sure you are dealing with Russula genus. Most of the time there is a slight depression in the middle of the cap. The upper skin of the cap can be peeled quite easily, most of the time, depending on the species, almost like chicken skin. And we have then this particular part where it breaks down like a chalk. If you try to do this with any other mushroom, apart from the Russula and Lactarius genus, what you're gonna get is more fibrous breaking. Sometimes, the stems of other mushrooms will not even let you break them so easily. So they would be gummy in a way if you try to break them. And then once you do, it kind of looks more like this with many fibers sticking around. It's not brittle. And brittle means, look at this. Look at just the what is left from our little experiment. If you are entirely certain you are dealing with Russula genus, what you can do, but only in that case, when you're entirely certain, is break off a small part of the cap and try it. Do not eat it, spit it out later, but try it. And that is what I'm going to do here. Oh, okay. That's a weird reaction, you might say. Okay, wait. It's so peppery. This could be used instead of pepper, and I think actually in some cuisines it was used instead of pepper. Yes, pepper is the thing that I can compare this thing to the most. It's very peppery. What does that mean? For Russulas, when we are talking about Russula genus, it is not deadly, but it can be toxic. It can be not so easy on your digestive system, causing vomiting, cramps, and other nasty stuff that we might not necessarily want to talk and think about in detail right now. But this is the rule. If you are sure you are dealing with Russula, only then you can do this nibble test. Take a small piece of the cap, nibble on it, try it out. If it's very spicy or bitter or any of the weird tastes, the answer is nope. Do not eat it. Do not think about eating it. And if it is slightly sweet and pleasant taste, you can eat it, but it should always be thoroughly cooked. That is Russula species for you. Do not use this video as definite guide. Always consult multiple sources. You know how it goes. And I hope this will at least spark a bit of your imagination and curiosity. Cheers and happy foraging!